When you look at Nwora, as good as he is, you've played him a number of times, how do you go about trying to best stop a guy like that?
Well, it is hard because he has multiple ways that he hurts you. You've heard me say this before. It's like a broken record probably, but you can't stop him. You just try to hope that you can hold us down his efficiency. If you can cut down his percentage, or if you can cut down the number of rebounds, that can help you because he's really gifted. I mean, you look at it, what is it? I can't see, but I had my eyes checked this morning. They dilated it, so it's hard. I mean, he's wrong one. 19 a game with the other team's defense aimed at him. And the reason you know that, because you look, the next guy's 9.9. So he averages twice as much as, basically, not quite, but twice as much as anybody else. So all the team's defenses are aimed at him. And to still be able to do that and do it as effectively is pretty impressive.
Is that a situation where is it easier to try and sell out for the threes because you know that he is such a high volume and high efficiency three-point shooter, or do you try and back in a little more?
Well, if you do that, I think you're doing it the wrong way because he's 41.5 from three and he's 44 from two, so you'd be better off giving him the twos. I mean, you just can't. There's no which way you can go. If you give him the threes, you can do the math. Almost 42% from three. He's probably going to equal out more than 44% from two. That's a guess.
In what ways do you see your team getting better?
I really do see us getting better in a lot of ways, and yet what we do is we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I think we're getting better offensively. I think we're doing a better job with our shot selection. At times, I think we're handling the ball better, and yet at the end of Notre Dame game, we had 4 big turnovers in the last 8 minutes. So there's many different ways, but it is something that we're taking a step forward and a couple of back sometimes.
Roy, in losing some of these close games like you guys have down the stretch, what do you think's been the bigger difference? Is it been maybe not knocking down some of the shot looks you need, or is it maybe been more important to failing to get some of those stops on the defensive end that you need?
Well, I think both.
Okay.
We've there's 2 things I want to tell you about Coach Smith today. One is that Coach Smith said every 6 or 7 years you should have a losing season so everybody appreciate the other years. And I told him I never agreed with that, and he said it many times to me. But my first year, and you can go back and look it up, I think I'm right on this, is either 4 or 5. 79. There were 5 games where the other team had the last shot to win the game. They were 0 for 5. We won all 5 games. So I think somebody says things always even equal out. I think it's even equaling out this year more than any other time. But seriously, it's either 4. I really think it was 5 games that the other team had the last shot to win the game. And this year we've had 6 and lost all 6 because they've made a basket 6 times. But it is, I think that we worked yesterday on the defensive end of it, that we've had 6 opportunities to get a stop that would have allowed us to win the game right then, or to go into overtime instead of losing, or go into another overtime instead of losing. And so yesterday we worked on that, and today we're going to work on that, but we're also going to work on trying to score our last possession and do a better job of getting the shot that we want, and not just having it defend. But I even remember that year we beat Michigan State in Carmichael, and Jay Vincent was a great player that played a long time in the NBA, and he missed a 12-footer at the end of the game. We won by 1. So sometimes you give them a good shot and they miss it. Sometimes they take a tough shot and make it. So it's what it is, but I think it's both ends that we need to. In some of those games, we should not have been in that position because we had a 6, 8, 9, 10-point lead, and we either turned it over, missed free throws, or both. And so that's the biggest problem right there, not just one possession, because I don't think you can tie it down to one possession.
What have you, you've had 6 games now to kind of perfect the locker room speech after a close loss. How do you console a team or tell a team?
I'm the world's worst at it, so I tell them I've been tired of it, but it's like I'm getting tired of press conferences. You guys are having to come up with different questions that are awfully hard. We're getting our butts beat every daggum day, but I'm just truthful with them. I tell them exactly what I feel the biggest part of the game was that we didn't take care of, what we've got to do next, and then try not to get, any 20-minute speeches or anything like that, and go on and try to have a chance to look at the tape and come back and talk to them in more factual manner after you see all the tapes too.
Coach, going back to Louisville for a moment, other than Nora, I'm not sure how much you've been able to see him, but Ryan McMahon's proven to be a good shooter. Malik Williams, B.J. Johnson, all these guys have proven that they can fill it up. Offensively, what has stood out to you about Louisville?
Well, it does start with Nworko's. He is almost averaging twice as many as anybody else, but those other guys, they add up to a lot of points too. So you're exactly right. I watched last night the Duke game at Duke, Louisville Duke, and the Johnson kid was just off the charts, the freshman. And Sutton has been a guy that's given us problems. McMahon can make a bunch of shots. Enoch and Williams both. Enoch, both of those guys have played well against us at different times. So, no, we have to focus on the entire team. I was trying to look at the lineup now. Yeah, Perry's played well against us. Kimball we haven't seen very much, but those guys, Johnson is a freshman, and then Kimball, I'm looking at he's a grad transfer, I think. But the other guys we've played against for the last 2 or 3 years, I mean, they have 2 or 3 redshirt seniors, fifth-year guys in their top 7 or 8. So they're an experienced, very balanced team. It's really a good team, and Chris is doing a fantastic job.
Campbell's from St. Joe's.
Yeah, he's the grad transfer.
Roy Armando's really attacked the glass these last 2 games, but just hasn't really been there offensively. What does he need to do?
He had 16 the game before. I don't remember what he had against 10 against Notre Dame. Yeah, 16 in a low possession game. Because wasn't that the Virginia game? Yeah, that's really impressive. But he's got to finish more plays. When I think about big guys, we always say that we want our big guys to shoot 55 to 60%. And so, he's at 46. And so got to finish more plays. And silly turnovers or an illegal screen that was crucial against Notre Dame, you got to stop doing those kind of things. But he has a chance to be an elite rebounder.
You talked on Wednesday about when Cam was here, just his impact of just one guy playing hard.
One guy makes a majority.
Right. Have you seen any of your players since he's been here kind of try and step up in practice and try to emulate maybe his energy?
No, guys, there's nobody like Cam.
Right.
Okay, I mean, you're talking about some guys that aren't nearly as gifted, and so he's a guy that's very gifted and who had his intensity level up at a really high level, but he was coming in and playing for 30 minutes. A lot of guys, human nature is that if it's a 2-hour practice, the guys don't have that energy level because it's a 2-hour practice and they lifted weights before and they know that they're going to get on the end line and run sprints at the end. And Cam, I mean, I was stunned by what he did at the end of practice. He just walked off. I yelled at him. I said, "What about the end line?" He just waved at me and kept walking. That's a heck of a benefit. So nobody has the talent to duplicate what he did, nor do they have the energy level because they know they don't have to do other things that they don't want to do.
Speaking of Cam, you had back here for a couple of days. What was it like talking to him? His NBA experience, and then additionally, what's it like recruiting Puff, his brother, UNC?
Well, it's we've known Puff for 3 years. So it was easier. We've known Mom and Dad. Cam had a wonderful experience and was saying great things about us and that kind of thing. And Puff had been in the stands cheering for his brother and cheering for North Carolina, so it was a great advantage for us. And Puff can really shoot the ball. He's, when you recruit him and you look at Cam, you think, there's a chance he could really be a late comer, late bloomer, which is similar to what Cam was. And so we hope that part. The other part, visiting with Cam, there wasn't a lot of time. I mean, he's at practice and he's at the game. I don't go over and sit down and visit with him, before the game or after the game. So when I have a chance to visit with guys a lot more in the summer when they come back. But, when Friday night, I went recruiting somewhere, and either Thursday or Friday night I was gone. So I wasn't here with him a lot of times. It's just things going okay, you look good, you feel good. What's the biggest problem for you? And, 5-minute conversation's all it is.
You see that dunk he had?
Yeah, I sent him a text afterwards. Somebody seen it. I said, "Oh my gosh, who is this guy?"
Yeah.
Dunking on JaVale. And he says, "I've always had that." I said, "Yeah, right."
Coach, miracles can happen. How do you keep your team motivated and going strong to finish out the year?
Yeah, miracles can happen. I don't talk about that. I talk about, come on now, let's get better today. We got a game tomorrow. We're not going to cancel the rest of the schedule just because we're doing poorly. and try to push them with that. And the other thing is try to show them, because I don't, go play golf and then show up at practice or anything like that. I mean, we're working, we're watching tape, talking to them, trying to coach them. They know every day out there at practice that we're giving everything we have as a staff, so we're following our own thought there of let's get better, let's get better. You know what, Garrison, somebody Kirsch showed me what he had said to somebody. That's something that means a great deal to me, is that every day I do go to work and try to do the best I can possibly do and try to get them better. And I tell guys all the time, you're not going to work as hard as I am, so don't give me any of this other junk. But just trying to get better, and I'm not looking at ever going to a practice and say, okay, guys, we got a game tomorrow. It's the last game. Let's shoot some layups and get out of here. If I do that, I'm going to leave, and because that's not the way I'm built.
Have you seen Cole Anthony kind of, since he came back against Boston College, come a little more a better part of the offense you'd like to see in the last couple games, involving the balance between the low post and his perimeter game?
You guys, the analytics people, get a lot more caught up in that kind of stuff than I do, really. I mean, somebody said something about 6 games or 7 games. I just know that we've been right there. 5 of the 6 games he's been back.
Yes.
In some of those other games before that, we were not necessarily right there, with the exception of the Wake Forest game. His numbers, I think, are probably more efficient since he came back. His assist-air ratio the other day was 6-1, the way you guys counted, or the way it's officially counted, and I think he was 10-1 for us. One of the games that we played, and I can't remember which one it was now, he had 6 plays during a game where we gave him full assist, which means he got the guy a layup and they just missed a layup, or they missed an easy one. So I really don't get caught up in that comparison. Somebody sends it to me, I read it for 30 seconds and move on. But I think that his defensive grades have been better than they were when he first started this year. Florida State and one other game were bad shooting games, but other than that, we're not in a couple of those games if he's not making plays like he is, and that's all I think about.
Coach, the amount of comebacks and buzzer beaters that your team's had to go through, when you go through one of those, and do you ever have the mentality, or your players ever have the mentality of like, not again, when they're kind of coming back, and how do you coach that out of them, whether that be practice or during the games?
They may have it, I don't. I get ticked off when they're thinking about that. Today's game is today's game. And I believe that from the day I was born to the day I died. Just because I missed a shot or missed something, that doesn't mean I'm going to miss it again. So we try to talk to now, the now. You can take care of the now. You can't take care of both something that's already happened. And I got a little mad at him because somebody said something about they're so unlucky. We're not unlucky. Play better. That takes care of the luck part. Play better. Yes, teams have made some tough shots, some big shots with the clock running down and game on the line, but that's that we have that prerogative also for us to do it, or we have the prerogative of playing better defense and stopping them. But I do try to steer away from that unlucky stuff, because it's luck, you can take care of your own self, but not worrying about the luck. Just do what you can control. If we get 2 defensive rebounds on free throws against Duke, we win the game. It wasn't that somebody and they did make an unbelievable play. Trey's Young off the rim was an unbelievable play. But come on, let's do what we can control. Notre Dame, the kid made a big-time shot. I recruited Nate. All right, I know he's a good shooter, but the play was made by Rex. Let's get the rebound. You know what happens if we get a rebound? We win the game. So it's not luck. And that's what I try to get, because, there's some form of luck in everything you do, but you can also take care of a lot of it by just playing better.
Coach, has Jeremiah practiced this week? You mentioned Wednesday that he's been
He's going to practice full-time today, and he practiced a pretty good bit yesterday.
Roy, how do you think Garrison is adjusted to playing with he's played with the Goggles, the last 3 games, I think, since getting that eye injury? I know he didn't play well against Wake, but the past 2 games, he's had...
Yeah, Wake was not something you should ever even consider. I was probably stupid for trying to put him out there. But he wanted to play badly, but he was just so uncomfortable kind of thing. But, I think that even in the Wake game, I told him 2 or 3 games before that, get the free throw up in the air, it's got a better chance. And he couldn't see the rim. I told him to shoot for the middle one. You know, it's like, what was that line in a guy told
I don't
Doc.
remember which movie it was.
Yeah, it's Doc. A guy told Doc Holliday, "You're so drunk you probably see two of them." And he says, "I got two guns, one for each one of you." Well, that's if you see in three baskets, shoot for the freaking middle one. That's the way it is. But no, I think he's more comfortable with it, and we want to keep protecting him because that's 3 times in the same eye is not fun.
I wanted to ask, this is actually a long time ago, but Xavier Graf got let go at UNCW after 2.5 years. I don't think you've talked about that. I was wondering your thoughts on that, and you talked about, obviously, I'm sure you talked to him since then.
Yeah, I even talked to CB last night. So, you know, I've always felt that no college coach should be fired in the middle of the season. It's not professional sports, it's college sports. So we say it's college sports from the big house up on the hill. It's college, and then you do things like that that makes me think it's not the same signal. So I've always said that. I said that in, oh my gosh, 2001 or something like that, 2002 maybe, when our football coach at Kansas was fired for the last 2 or 3 games. I mean, I just don't think that should be done in college athletics, and so I didn't like that part of it, and I was sad for CB and his family, but that's a decision that their administration felt like they should make. But I've always been against that part of it. People have to make decisions that they think is the best for their school, whether I agree with them or not. But so that was the first part of it. My feeling is that that shouldn't happen during the course of a season. And then the other thing is I always think of not just the coach, but I know that it's gut-wrenching for him, but how it affects his family and his kids. And so I think that's a very difficult part of it.